Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi-Thorn Alliance. I'm Jacob.
I'm Luke, and we're the YouTube channel that offers non-biased opinions of that of two perspectives, that of someone on the autism spectrum and that of someone who's not. And what are we doing in today's video, Jacob?
We are breaking down Wan Kenobi episodes 5 and 6.
Awesome. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Hit the notification bell and you'll see us upload multiple videos weekly. So let's move into it. Let's summarize episode 5 and 6 for those out there.
So basically in episode 5, we are in a high note from episode 4. Obi-Wan has rescued Leia and now heading back to the intelligence stronghold. But as we know from episode 4, Raven has had a tracker on the droid, and Darth Vader is impressed and is intrigued to see what happens. And then Raven leads a platoon of stormtroopers to go down to the facility and hunt down Obi-Wan.
This is where it starts to get interesting in the episode, where they're trying to get into the stronghold, and Obi-Wan's giving his message of hope to everyone and ultimately saying, they don't want me, they don't want you, Vader just wants me, I'm going to sacrifice myself. And everyone's like, don't do it, don't sacrifice yourself, you're a Jedi, we need you. But that's not Obi's style, but he's got a smarter plan. So what happens from there, and what's his plan?
His plan is basically to bring Vader to have him to come and face and over to buy time so they can get away safely from the Empire.
And we then, through this, we realised that, as our suspicion was, that Raven was a youngling, and she, in fact, even though she works for the Empire, she doesn't really like Vader. She holds a grudge against what he did to her friends. And her and Obi-Wan kind of team up in a way that they're going to try and take down Vader. So how does that take place? And that kind of ends the episode after what happens here.
Basically, Vader gets really enthusiastic and sees the opportunity to take down Obi-Wan and hustles into the factory and then goes into the building and then sees the starship leaving and then uses the Force and brings down the first ship, and then he sees the second one, and then Raven sees the opportunity to bring him down. And as we know, because of future content, it does not succeed, and they have a decent fight, but Vader obviously wins. And then we see the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a switch and bait. You know, Obi-Wan, he thinks he's been captured, but Raven's actually let him escape. She plans to take down Vader on her own, whether that's a smart idea. And then the Grand Inquisitor returns, which we thought he was dead, and Raven gets stabbed in the chest with the lightsaber and left to bleed out and die, or so we would think. And that's kind of where the episode takes off with finishes.
And we also get a flashback of a young Hayden Christensen and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes, that's one of the highlights of the episode for sure. And so then we move into episode 6. Where does episode 6 take off from?
Very much conveniently, Raven, from getting stabbed in the chest, conveniently finds a spaceship and then is already at Tatooine and wants to find Uncle Owen, because how the previous episode ends with Bail Organa saying we need help, and Luke is Vader or Anakin has children, so she's going to go and hunt down Luke.
Yes, forgot about that. There was the kind of device that was brought up, the holographics, which we've seen in multiple Star Wars movies and series, and that's how she gets this knowledge of Luke. So she goes on that. Obi-Wan is in the ship and they're getting shot at, and in typical fashion, it's Star Wars, no one can shoot apparently. They just always miss. Like, they can never hit anything. So they're missing, and Obi-Wan realizes that, again, Vader just wants him.
Yeah.
And if he leaves them and they can go off and be safe, Vader will change their mind and they'll follow Obi-Wan, which, again, he was correct.
Well, the Grand Inquisitor interjects with it, but Vader, being the superior and his main weakness is Obi-Wan, is not listening to him.
Yeah, so that's one thing about Vader's leadership, that instead of, wanting to complete what should be done, he's fixated, and Obi-Wan is his main thing. He holds a grudge. So then they go to another planet, and then they have, what happens from there?
Well, they have an epic duel, and then we get to see the Force with some epic rocks.
Yeah, it's probably the best showing we've seen of the Force in the series so far, them pelting each other with rocks, and which would seemingly hurt a lot more than what they put off. Obi-Wan being crushed, and Vader being hit with multiple rocks, a cool lightsaber battle, and how does that conclude?
Well, we basically get to see Vader's face, or Hayden Christensen's face, and then we get to see Obi-Wan saying, I failed you, and then Vader basically saying, no, it wasn't your responsibility, basically not letting Obi-Wan make out that it was his fault, and pretty emotional moment with that, and then Obi-Wan leaving him for a second time.
And so through that, Obi-Wan hit his mask with the lightsaber, didn't cut his face, but exposed that we got to see Hayden Christensen inside the mask, and his voice kind of changed between the Vader voice and the Anakin voice, which was cool. And yeah, basically explaining, you didn't fail me, Anakin's dead, I'm Lord Vader now, and kind of sets the precedent for future content and also what we know already exists. And how does the episode then kind of finish up?
Well, we get to see Raven fight Uncle Owen and hunt down Luke, and then she can't do it because she sees the flashbacks of how Anakin was doing the same thing. So the redemption arc happened, so she couldn't do the same thing. So we'll be seeing some more Raven in the future. So there's kind of two storylines going on in the background, and that was pretty epic. And then Vader is in the Mustafar stronghold, and then we get to see Emperor Palpatine.
So again, setting it up for the future Star Wars movies, and we kind of then concluded with seeing Leia, getting dressed up. She has the holster that she was given, and she's preparing to greet relatives or other, politicians' families at their planet.
And Obi-Wan shows
she's
up.
surprised with Obi-Wan showing up, which is quite a nice ending, and we get a nice moment where he's like, if you ever need something, don't hesitate to call me up again, which really sets the scene for what happens in A New Hope.
And then Obi-Wan comes and sees Luke on Tatooine and says, you were right, Uncle Owen. And then basically we get to see that Obi-Wan has learned to let go of Luke and let Luke be a boy, and when the time is right, him to become a Jedi, not to force it upon him. And then we get to see probably the thing we have been waiting for, Qui-Gon Jinn, played by Liam Neeson, become a voice ghost, and pretty epic conclusion.
Yeah, it was a very nice conclusion, and it explains, why they're like, well, why didn't Obi-Wan train Luke earlier? Like, why did he leave it to Yoda? And it really, we get to understand why he would have done that, because he just wanted to let the boy be a boy. So, without completely reviewing the whole show, because we'll say that for another video, from these 2 episodes, were you satisfied?
Yeah, I was very satisfied for what it was. Yes, it could have been better, but I think it told what it needed to told, and I think we're definitely going to get out of the show from this, and it was epic.
You think we'll get another Vader? Is that what you're thinking, a Vader show?
Oh, I would assume so. They would be silly not to.
What do you think that might focus on?
Maybe him hunting down Jedi with the 531st.
Okay, that would be an interesting story. What was your highlight from the last 2 episodes?
Oh, of course, seeing Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fight, and finally hearing Hayden Christensen speak with his own voice. Probably the last episode.
And you think it was a satisfying conclusion what we got, or are you like some of the other Star Wars fans that seemingly hate everything Star Wars even though they call themselves fans?
Oh yes, it could have been better, but I'm satisfied because I think they're going to make maybe not a season 2 of Obi Wan Kenobi, but they're definitely going to make a Vader show or a Raven show. They'll make something like an anthology series. That's how I kind of see it. Like Obi Wan Kenobi was their like testing the waters show of see if they could do a prequel show, and I think the sky's the limit.
From these 2 episodes specifically, was there any plot holes or things you thought could have been changed or unnecessary or you would have done differently?
I do think it was silly that Darth Vader didn't kill Raven. I think it was satisfied her redemption arc, but I think, you know, she could have died in episode 5, and I do think it was silly that in episode 6 she was suddenly injured in episode 5 and then she was at Tatooine. Those small things.
Yeah, that's where I was leading towards. I think I don't understand why she was not killed. I also don't understand how she didn't die. She had a lightsaber through her chest, you know, like that. Most people die from that. Like, and yes, she got to Tatooine quite easily. And then why she would want to kill, you know, like another supposed youngling? Like I know she wants to seek revenge, but she's going to kill the son of someone that doesn't even know they have a son. Like it seems like a really odd redemption. It was probably the one thing that the show, if you removed it, it would still have the exact same effect, or maybe even more so, that she sacrificed herself to try and take out Vader, but still, you know, died in vain. Any other things you think was a standout, maybe, or, you know, like what was or like you would have changed anything? Like what about the show do you think is, from these 2 episodes, that could have been done differently?
I guess seeing more of Qui-Gon Jinn, maybe seeing like Darth Maul or some other things, but what we got, I think, very satisfying. Yes, it could have been better. What do you think?
I don't have the extensive knowledge of Star Wars that you do, but in this timeline, is this set before or after, like, would have Darth Maul already been killed at this point?
No.
So, where does he die?
Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought he was killed by Obi-Wan after he took out Qui-Gon Jinn.
No, they brought him back in Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
How do they explain that?
His hate and revenge for Obi-Wan brought him back, and he was able to come back.
See that, and now knowing that actually would have been quite a cool turn of events for him to return, and you go, oh, well, because you're like, oh, how did that happen? That actually would have been really cool. Because I was thinking, I thought he was dead. How does that make sense? But they bring him back. I guess I don't have the same knowledge as you, but does that make sense that Luke would have met Obi-Wan at that point, or is it assumed that him and Obi-Wan had never met before in The New Hope?
Well, now we know how he got the toy spaceship. He got it from Obi-Wan.
Okay, but I guess we could have. That when we watch The New Hope, Luke has no idea of Obi-Wan.
No.
Do we assume that maybe he just doesn't remember meeting this stranger because it was so long ago?
I guess so.
Yeah, because he obviously doesn't become a major part of his life. He's just a friend of Uncle Owen's that gave you a ship once. Okay, that makes sense to me then. Yeah, I don't have much more to add to it. I'm looking forward to reviewing the whole series and giving our score. That's about it.
Well, thank you for watching. We are a YouTube channel from 2 different perspectives. Like and subscribe. Let the Force be with you. Bye-bye.